Hello students, I'm Madam Joyce from Educare TZ. I'm teaching biology and today I'll be with you to discuss our topic, that is cytology, whereby we are going to deal with our subtopic, which is the types of cell. So within the type of cell, here mainly we are discussing on the eukaryotic cell in terms of the organelles which are found within eukaryotic cell. And by reminding you, my student, on the previous session we terminate by looking on the structure of the mitochondria. So I would like to welcome you again now to discuss the mitochondria, but here we are going to deal with our another thing, that is the function of mitochondria. So what are the function of mitochondria? So here we are going to deal with. So you are welcome again. So on the function of mitochondria, so after discussing on the structure of this mitochondria, now let's see what are the function of this mitochondria. Simply we are saying that the mitochondria is just a site for aerobic respiration, hence it release energy in form of ATP. Aerobic respiration ni tunasema kwamba we have seen that mitochondria is act as a powerhouse of a cell. Why is it termed as a powerhouse of a cell? Because it synthesizes energy which are used all over the cell, and that energy we have seen that it is released energy in form of ATP. That's why here it is the site of aerobic respiration. And remember, aerobic respiration, it does bring about the production of energy. So where does the aerobic respiration occur? It's just occurring within the mitochondria. That's why here we have said that it used in releasing energy in form of ATP. So that is the main functioning of the mitochondria. Another function of mitochondria, it is an intermediate site of synthesis of important biomolecules such as chlorophyll, cytochromes, steroids and fatty acids. Kwamba hii mitochondria yenyewe ina act as a site for synthesis of important biomolecules. So tukiongelea hizo biomolecule tunaongelea chlorophyll, cytochromes, tunaongelea steroid pamoja na fatty acid. So ile intermediate place or intermediate point tunasema kwamba inapatikana within the mitochondria, ndio ambayo inakuwa inasababisha kutengeneza kwa hizi intermediate molecule, ambapo baadaye sasa zitakuja kutengeneza a complete product. For example, tukiongelea hii steroid is just a intermediate product, ambapo baadaye final product ndio ina result into formation of hormones. For example, those for example, you're talking about testosterone, estrogen, all of them, they are hormone come from the steroid. So this is steroid is just an intermediate product. Another function, we can say that the mitochondrion can store and release calcium ion when required. Hence, it regulates calcium ion concentration within the cell. Kwa maana kwamba hii ambayo tunaita mitochondria inakuwa responsible kwa ajili ya kustore pamoja na kurelease calcium. Kwa maana hiyo simply tunaweza tukasema kazi kubwa ya hii ambayo tunaita mitochondria is for regulation of calcium ion concentration within the cell. So hiyo ndio kazi kubwa ya hiyo calcium ya mitochondria. Another function, those are the functions of the mitochondria. Hizo ndizo kazi kubwa ambazo zinapatikana kwenye mitochondria. So now let's see another thing in mitochondria, that is adaptation of mitochondria. So how is it adapted to perform all of those functions that have been told you in the previous slide? So inawezaje kumanage kufanya hizo kazi zote? What are the adaptation? Inawezaje kufanya aerobic respiration for synthesis of ATP? Inawezaje kuproduce intermediate products? So these one are the adaptation that helps this mitochondria to perform its function effectively. So the mitochondria is specialized to its function because the first one, That is, the outer membrane containing lots of porins that allow the passage of molecules for respirations. Porins, these are the small pores which are found surrounding the outer membrane of the mitochondria. Na kazi kubwa ya porins tunasema kwamba yenyewe inasaidia kwenye passage of molecules, small molecule which are needed in the process of respiration. So zinaingilia wapi? Zinaingilia kwenye hii porins, lots of porins. And when we say those molecules needed for the respiration here, we mean different kinds of respiratory substrate. Inaweza ikawa protein, carbohydrate, any kind of carbohydrate, that is glucose and so on. So they pass through this lots of porins. Another adaptation to enhance the function of mitochondria, simply we can say that the inner membrane is highly folded into cristae that increase its surface area. Kwa maana kwamba ile inner wall of the mitochondria, it has foldation, kwa maana kwamba kunakuwa na mikunjo. So ile mikunjo ambayo inapatikana pale ndio ambayo inasaidia increase surface area for the different process to occurring, either for production of those intermediates or for production of ATP. So it's due to the presence of the crystal which is found within that structure. Another adaptation of the mitochondria in order to perform its function effectively, here we can say that the membrane are permeable, allowing the passage of all diffusible material. So since this membrane it is permeable, it allows different material to diffuse in and out of the cell or out of the mitochondria. Thus, simply we can say that allows raw material in and products out. Kwa ina allow raw material kuingia ndani ya mitochondria na zile products ambazo zilizalishwa, for example those ATP, NADPH and so on, to be released out of the mitochondria. So that is because of its permeability which is found within its membrane. Another functioning or another adaptation of the mitochondria in order to perform its function effectively, here we can say that the matrix contain appropriate enzyme used in respiratory pathway, such as in the Krebs cycle. So within the matrix of the mitochondria, there is appropriate enzymes. There is a lot of enzymes. Zile enzymes sasa ndizo ambazo zinakuja kusaidia kwenye process nzima ya Krebs cycle. You know that in the process of respiration we have almost 3 stages. The first stage is glycolysis, the second one it is Krebs cycle, which is performed or which is occurring within the mitochondria. So in order for the completion of the Krebs cycle to occur within the mitochondria, it depends the presence of enzymes. So where does this enzyme come from? The enzyme come from the matrix of the mitochondria, so that inaweza kuifanya ile kazi ya Krebs cycle kwa urahisi zaidi. So that is the function or adaptation of mitochondria. Another adaptation here, we can simply say that this is this is E. Presence of windows or fenestra in the membrane facilities the passage facilitates the passage of material in and out. Kwa maana kwamba presence of the window or fenestra. So another thing or another term of a windows, it can be used as a fenestra. So these windows which are found within the membrane facilitate the passage of material in and out. So there is different fenestra which are occurring on the membrane of the mitochondria. So thus it allows different material to get in and those products to get out of the mitochondria, so that to perform its functioning effectively. So my student, that's all about mitochondria. Huo ndio mwisho wa mitochondria. So if you don't even understand, you can unaweza ukarudia ili kuelewa zaidi what is mitochondria, what is the function of it and so on. So now let's look on another organelle which is found within the cytoplasm. And this organelle, it is called a plastid. This organelle, it is called the plastid. So we have to ask ourselves, what is plastids and where is the plastids located? That is, plastids, these are the membrane-bound organelles found in the cells of plant, algae and other eukaryotic organism. Kwa maana kwamba hizi plastids tunasema kwamba ni membrane-bound organelle, the same as in the mitochondria. But this one, we have seen that it is only found within a plant, algae and other kind of eukaryotic organism. Ndipo ambapo unaweza ukaziona hizi plastids. They are membrane-bound organelle, meaning that they have a membrane on their outer structure. And thereby, they often contain pigment, and the type of the pigment determines the colors, the cell's color. So simply, they are mainly responsible for activities related to making and storing food. So tukiongelea hizi plastids tunamaanisha kwamba zile organelles zote zinazohusika kwenye kutengeneza na kutunza chakula either within a plant, within the algae or other eukaryotes. So my students, for more clarification of what are those plastids and the function of those plastids, I would like to invite you into the next part of this session, whereby we're going to finalize looking on those plastids. Thank you for listening.